درود به شما همیهنان گرامی، امیدوارم خوب و خوش باشید. امشب یک مهمون عزیزی داریم از کشور برزیل که خودش هم به آیین زرتشت گرویده و میدونم گفتگویی که اینجا خواهیم داشت با هم، من با این دوست برزیلی، باعث میشه که بعضی از جستارهایی که برای همیهنا میتونه کنکاش برانگیز باشه بهش پاسخ داده بشه، یا دست کم باعث میشه که همیهنا از زاویه‌های گوناگونی به مقوله بپیوندن. میخوام 2 تا پرسش رو با ایشون در میون بگذارم که میدونم برای بسیاری از همیهنا پرسش‌های جالب است. پیش از این که من گفتگو رو با ایشون آغاز بکنم، خوبه این رو بهتون بگم که با این که ایشون برزیلی هست، زاده کشور برزیل هست، اصل و نژادش هم به اونجا برمیگرده، اما در حین جوانی بسیار آگاه هست نسبت به شاهنامه، نسبت به اوستا، نسبت به آیین زرتشت و همچنین در مقوله های فلسفی. یک پژوهشگر جوان هست و به جرئت میتونم بگم چیزهایی که از ایران میدونه خیلی بیشتر از بسیاری از جوانای ایرانی است که شوربختانه با اون هویت و فرهنگ اصیل ایران پیش از اسلامشون غریبن. شغل ایشون پلیس هست، داره کوشش میکنه که به رئیس پلیسی هم دست پیدا کنه و در حال هم درس هم کار کردن و ارتقای زندگی، کامیابی هرچه بیشتر برای خودش و زندگیش. اما نکته که خیلی جالبه اینه که پس از اینکه با فرهنگ و آیین ایران آشنا شد و به آیین خردگرای زرتشت رو آورد، نامی که برای خودش برگزید نامی کاملا ایرانی برگزیده، به انتخاب خودش نام آریامهر رو برگزیده و من خیلی خوشحالم از این گزینشی که انجام داده و حتی کوشش کرده دیکته‌ای هم که میخواد برای نامش به کار ببره به همون دیکته اوستایی باشه. به هر روی جا داره که اینجا ما به همه کسایی که تو این چند ساله، تو این چند دهه کوشش کردن زرتشت رو به جامعه ایرانی بیشتر معرفی بکنن سپاس میگیم و همچنین به پژوهشگران غیر ایرانی که اونقدر کار کردن که این آیین خردگرا آوازش تا دوردست‌ها تا برزیل هم رسیده. 2 تا پرسشی که میخوام مطرح بکنم با آریامهر، یکیش اینه که چرا درست نیست ما آیین زرتشت رو فوری مقایسه بکنیم با اسلام و بگیم خب چون اسلام بد بوده، آسیب زده به جامعه که 100% هم همینطور بوده، حالا کیش زرتشتی هم به درد نمیخوره و ما یک جامعه میخوام هیچ کیش و آیینی درش نباشه. یکی این رو میخوام ازش بپرسم از آریامهر، و دوم اگه زمان هنوز بهمون اجازه بده میخوام ازش بپرسم که آیا میشه ما کشور ایران رو، همین که این ویروس همچون طاعون که این بیماری اندیشه اسلام در جامعه پراکنده، اگه ما فقط این طاعون رو از جامعه بگیریم، از دل ایرانی ها با آگاه سازی اسلام رو بیرون ببریم، آیا کافی است برای که یک کشور پیشرفته بسازیم در چند دهه آینده یا نه؟ ما نیاز داریم که حتما یک کیش خردگرا و بومی که کالای ایرانی است مثل آیین زرتشتی رو به کار بگیریم برای ساخت کشور. پیش از اینکه گفتگو رو آغاز بکنم 2 مورد رو توجه کنید. اختلاف ساعتی هست میان فنلاند که من هستم و برزیل که دوست گرامیم هست، بنابراین کیفیت تصویر و نورپردازی اونقدر که باید بالا نیست. هیچ چاره‌ای هم نداریم، از حد امکاناتی که داریم بیشترین استفاده رو می‌کنیم. و دوم این که باید مصاحبه رو به زبان انگلیسی برگزار بکنم و از آریامهر پرسش‌ها رو به انگلیسی میپرسم، ایشون هم به انگلیسی پاسخ میده. حالا اون همیهنایی که آگاهی دارن به زبان انگلیسی خیلی خوب میتونن دنبال کنن قضیه رو، اونهایی هم که آگاهی ندارن حالا یا کوشش کنن از دوستانشون که مهارت دارن در زبان انگلیسی جویا بشن گفتگو رو، یا هم که اگه زمان اجازه بده در هفته‌های آینده کوشش میکنیم که یک زیرنویس فارسی هم شاید برای این برنامه بسازیم که تمام گفتگو رو هم میهنا بتونن به فارسی بخونن. خب من گفتگو رو با آریامهر آغاز میکنم و امیدوارم از این گفتگو لذت ببرید و جالب باشه براتون. درود. Hello brother, hope you are fine, and I should say thanks a lot that though I know how busy you are, you dedicated some time to come and talk with us and share your valuable knowledge about Iran and pre-Islamic Iran and its true culture with Iranians, with many Iranians that they are so uneducated about pre-Islamic Iran. They are like so strange to their true culture, Zoroastrianism. They are so with so much lack of knowledge about their pre-Islamic history, and it's so good you as a Brazilian brother here, you can share your information and your knowledge, and you can guide us through the questions. Would you like to say something to audiences, please?
Hello, good afternoon from Brazil. I'm happy to talk with some Iranian brothers because myself, I am a Zoroastrian since 5 years in this month. In this month, I am initiated in Zoroastrianism for 5 years. That is a decision that I have taken to my life that I am very happy for that. I have studied something about the history of Zoroastrianism and how Zoroastrianism had created facilities to mankind with their culture, how we have a great debit with Zoroastrianism. Amongst the history of mankind, we will not find a religion which traduce itself in a culture that have benefit humankind. I just ask pardon to the brothers of Iran because I don't have a good English. And sometimes I will take the help of a dictionary.
It's fine, brother. Just please speak a bit louder because the voice is not in so high level. That's all. Thank you, brother, for the introduction about yourself. Now let's go to the first question. As you know better, since Islam invaded Iran, not only the genocide happened through Iranian lives, but the true Iranian culture also was disturbed, and to some extent, for many generations, many Iranian people, even they lost their connection with their true culture. Meanwhile, in last 40 years, because of this Islamic revolution in Iran, many of Iranians, they fed up with Islam because they came to know the problem in their country is not the politics only. But firstly, it's the culture, and firstly is the anti-cultural religion called Islam in there. So many of Iranians, they left Islam, which is a very good thing, and they left it because they started to read or they were listening to some expert. Then they were thinking by themselves wisely that Islam is not appropriate for their life and it's not good for their homeland. Anyway, they left Islam. And now, on the other hand, because many, as I said, many of Iranians, they don't have good knowledge about their pre-Islamic heritage and pre-Islamic culture, when it comes to Zoroastrianism, when we talk about Zertshti, the religion of the Zoroastrian religion, and when many of us try to convince to Iranians that, hey, this is like if Islam is like water, this Zoroastrianism is like fire. So if one of them is from this planet, another one is from totally different planet. So it is wrong if we think because Islam was bad and destroyed the country, another religion or another philosophy also is not good and will disturb the country. So in Iranian Renaissance movement, we have tried a lot to bring the differences to the Iranians, especially Iranian youths, and to let them understand how useful is Zoroastrianism for Iran. But still, there are, I'm sure, points that you can share with us. There are the tips that you can give to Iranian people about this matter, that although Islam was very destructive, but it's not fair and it's not logical to think Zoroastrianism also is not good for the society because another religion like Islam was not good. So we are all here to listen to your voice, board brother, please.
Well, I have to say that we may, if you have a lack of information about the invasion of ancient Persia by Islam, you don't know so much about what's the history of Persia, of Iran before of the Islamic invasion. We know that the Islamic invasion had taken place in the first half of the 17th century. In this time, the Roman Empire of West have already been destroyed, and the cause of the destruction of the Roman Empire was Christianity, and by proxy, Christianity are also the responsible by the creation of the Islam and some disturbance in Sassanid Persia. I don't know if people in Iran are so much, disturbing by the misinformation of Islamic doctrine that they don't know what was the Sasanian Empire. But if they don't, I hope I am wrong. Sasanian Empire was a light of civilization, which rivalizes with the glory of the Roman Empire. The Sassanid, they were also great benefactors of mankind. Just like before them, the Arsacids of the Parthians, which was also Iranians, and also the Achaemenids. I think the Achaemenids, together with the Indians and the Egyptians, they were the creators of civilization. They are the real roots of civilization. The Romans, the ancient Romans, believes in that. It's a kind of doctrine from the French Revolution. In the West, say that the Greeks are the fathers of the civilization, and the Romans believes in that. That's not true. I can say that because I study a lot about the Romans. The Romans do not believe in the Greeks as the fathers of the civilization. We can taste this when we read Plinius the Elder. It's a Roman writer. He have a book called Natural History. He have one chapter when he said bad things about the Greeks. He said that the Greeks are the greatest robbers of the history because they stole great things of the Egyptians and the Persians, and they say they invented that. It's not me who is saying that. Who is saying that is a Roman writer of the beginning of the Roman Empire, Plinius the Elder. Natural history, you can read that, you can take these words in there. And as Plinius said, the Romans believe that the Persians and the Egyptians are the great benefactors of civilization. And we have in this Achaemenid Empire, the beginning of the spread of this civilization that once was just in India, just in Egypt, and we don't have this civilization in other place. So that's the first great contribution of the Iranians, pre-Islamic Iranians, to the mankind. We thankful. We are thankful to the Iran to have done this. After the fall of the Achaemenid Empire, we have the Parthian Empire, which was also Iranian, and after that the Sasanian Empire. And those three empires, they were Zoroastrians, and they have contributed a lot with the civilization. Well, when Christianity had destroyed the first half of the Roman Empire, the West Roman Empire, the other half, the surviving half, has started a war, a dirty war against the Sasanian Empire, which had weakened, was a 20 or 25 years of war. The Constantinople city, capital of the Eastern Roman Empire, they were very near to be defeated by the Sasanians, but they used the Christians inside of the Sassanid Empire to destroy the confidence in the government until the Persian Empire was defeated by, not by the courage of the Eastern Roman Empire, but for, you know, I think the right word is, sorry, sabotage. I said my English is not very good. Well, after this war that the Christians they have win, the Persian Empire were exhausted by 25 years of war. So Islam has born in this lack of space of this war. In this time, flourished Islam in the center of Arabia, and it looked like Muhammad has sent letters to the Persian king and the Roman Constantinople king, say to him to embrace Islam. The first time that Islam has fighting against the Sassanid Empire was, if I'm not wrong right now, in the Christian era. The year was 631. There was a huge Islamic army fight against the empire who was exhausted for 1/4 part of a century of war, 1/4 of century of war. They fight against the Persians with an army 3 or 4 times huge than the Persian army, and they have been defeated. The Persians
sorry for interrupt you. It is interesting this part. Let me also add something in this point, because not only Iranians, but many other friends from other countries who are interested about civilization and culture and ancient Iran, they have this question that how come a savage religion like Islam could defeat two big superpowers of the world, the Romans and Iranians. So it was very good that you point out about the mass number, huge number of Muslims in the army. They were like countless, and no matter how many of them they die during the battle, because the Romans and Persians, Sassanid Iran, even in war and in battlefield, they were following their own update strategy and even following some moral guidelines. But on the other hand, for the savage Muslims who invaded Roman Empire and Iran, the only main thing that they had was uncountable human resources that could easily replace in the battlefield for those who have died. I mean, those parts of Islamic army when they were being defeated by Iranian warriors. Quickly, the warriors could see that in short period, there is again huge mass of Muslims coming to fight. So to make it very easy to understand, it's like no matter how strong you are in martial arts. Right? Let's just make it so easy, so simple to understand. Even if you are Mr. Bruce Lee and you are a master of karate, when huge amount of mosquitoes come to you and start biting you, you go unconscious. Eventually, you will become poisonous and you will die. So this was one of the important issue, one of the important reason that Islam could win Iranian Empire, and also in their battle through Roman empires, they could also win Romans very much easier than they could win Sassanid Iranian Empire. But I still like to add another thing in this topic, because you had so much knowledge about ancient time, Greek, Egyptians, and Indians. So as we know, whether it's Indian, Iranians, Greek, later on Romans, they were from the same family group, from the Aryans. So even when there was some fight between them, it was like cousins were fighting against each other. In a simple word, again, brothers also fight sometimes. But this was very, very different with when Islam came from came from Arabian Peninsula, and with a totally different lifestyle attacked both brothers, whether it's Romans or Iranians. So I just wanted to also point out that though in the history, these two brothers, superpowers, they were fighting together, and before that, Greek and Persians, during Achaemenid, they were fighting. It was like an inside family argument and fight, not like a totally different troops coming to each other from two different cultural backgrounds. So sorry for interrupting you, and we are listening. You were inside those fighting things, please.
What I'm saying is that Islam could not defeat the Sasanian Empire if the Sasanian Empire was not exhausted by 25 years of war. They couldn't win. This is a very interesting point, that the first battle, the Islamic have or an army 2 or 3 times bigger than the Sassanid army, and they were defeated. But the Sassanid organization machine, or state machine, whatever you want to say, they have no more organization enough to fight this creature, this poison, which is Islam. They were very, very weakened by the war of 1/4 of century. So the first battle was a massacre. The Sassanids, the Sassanids Iranian, have destroyed the Muslims. They have driving back again to the sands of Arabia. And if that is not that treacher, that treason, the betrayal of the Christians against the Sassanids in the 25 years before, the Islam had never again left the sands of Arabia. Never. Why Islam could win in a campaign of 20 years, since I think 1631 to 1651. 600, I'm sorry, 600. My English is not very good. Why they have, why they could achieve this conquest of Sassanid Persia, Sassanid Iran? Because the Sassanid Empire was weakened by the war against the Romans 25 years before. And still, the conquer of the Islam has taken more 20 years. Well, that's a bad chapter in the history of mankind. this thing has started a dark age because people only remember of Christianity, how Christianity have taken darkness to the European society. This is true, but also Islam in this in his first 22 centuries, they have taken also darkness to the culture. You see, before Islam, before the conquest of the Sassanid Empire, what we can call the world capital of culture, Ctesiphon, the Sassanid capital of the Persian Empire. Ctesiphon, I don't know if that is the pronunciation.
Yeah, or Tisfun. In Persian, we call it Tisfun.
Tisfun.
Tisfun, yes, you're right.
The capital of the Sassanids, you know, that was the capital of the culture of the world since the Christians of the Roman Empire has destroyed the Alexandria Library, which was constructed also with the siege of Persepolis by Alexander the Macedonian. He takes the library of the Persepolis and take to Alexandria in Egypt. So that's why Alexandria was for centuries the capital of the culture of the world, because they have taken from the Persepolis library that books. So before anything, Alexandria was the capital of the culture by centuries because of the Persians, because of Iran, because of the conquest of Alexander. Well, after the Christians have burned that library, so Ctesiphon has taken the crown of the capture of the culture of the world. And after this land, Ctesiphon was also destroyed. And by 200 years, where is the culture of the world? It was in India, by the mathematicals from India themselves and the Persians who have run from the Muslim conquest to India. By 200 years, the main source of the culture of the world was in India. We don't have any more since the Indus River to the west. We don't have more culture. When you have again the lights of culture being again in a spotlight in the Middle West, was in Baghdad, the House of Wisdom, when a vizier of the Caliph, his name was Harun al-Rashid, a Caliph from Baghdad. He have taken in his government as a Zoroastrian family vizier called Jafar. Jafar, I don't remember his surname, sorry, was his vizier. Lots of people say they were a crypto-Zoroastrian. So he created to this Caliph from Baghdad, the house of...
If I again interrupt you to make a conclusion of your words, please. So, as you were pointing out, it was interesting. You pointed out that invasion caused by Alexander the Cursed or Alexander of Macedonia and invasion of Islam, it had a huge side effect for these Indo-European families. Take it from east parts of India and continue to Greece and other parts that nowadays is in Europe. So these two invasions caused by Islam and before that by Alexander, it brought not only trouble to Iranian civilization, but it brought unfortune and much side effects to Iranians' cousins in the West. So this was interesting that you pointed out. Thanks for bringing attention to this point. And on the other hand, Aryamir was explaining that how this savage army, after conquering Iran and other places, they were lacking in the knowledge and education, so they had to recruit someone who knows about ancient way of accounting, about mathematics, physics, how to build building, and so on. So they had to recruit. And on the other hand, Zoroastrians were under so much suffering from Islam, being raped, being kidnapped, their children being kidnapped and sold as sex slaves outside in Arabian societies, and paying high religious tax called jizya. So many Iranian people, unfortunately, they had no other choice to save their beloved children, their beloved family from being kidnapped or raped or being killed. They had no choice except to agree with what this invaded culture is asking Iranians to obey. So they turn by force, by sword, to Islam, and then becoming recruited by these caliphates and Muslim commanders that they can use, Muslims can use their knowledge and skills to build up the organization. So please continue, Ariane.
I think what I'm saying is that Iran has been, along of the history of mankind, a great benefactor of humankind. A great, the Iran has given to us lots of blessings in what we call the building of civilization. What Islam has given to us? Nothing. Islam has given to us the civilization that mankind nothing. There is a kind of huge mistake between Western today and Iran because of this misunderstanding of what is Western culture, that lots of people think that the United States could emphasize or being the incarnation of the absence of Western culture, of the civilization of the mankind. This is a great rubbish. And because of the rivalry between United States and Iran, some people believe that in West, some people believe that Iran is only a place in the sphere of influence of Arabian culture, which is a very stupid concept. Iran has built into the mankind a lot of great things. We are indebted to Iran history. When the United States influence fall, I think the mind of the Western people will gonna change about that. Well, you say me something in your last talk that remembers a letter of Friedrich Nietzsche, a German philosopher. He wrote something like that. Was very bad to Europeans, that the King Darius I was not in the front of battle of Marathon in Greece, because if that was so, the Persians had won the fight and had conquered the Greece, and after that have conquered all Europe, and that would be a great thing for us, because today we would be Zoroastrians and not Christians. So conclude Friedrich Nietzsche, the defeat in Marathon battle was not the defeat of the Persian armies, was the defeat of all Europe and all civilization. And I agree with him.
And further, let me also add this point, as you said that, all right, after Islamic invasion in Iran, when we look at nowadays that many of Western countries, they think that perhaps they wouldn't consider so much importance to the place that Iran had in science and supporting other civilizations to build a better societies. So, of course, those who are well educated about the matters, who are, for example, philosophers or historians, who they know the details and they are deep in these topics, they know that how Iranians and Greeks and Romans and Indians, like I said, like brothers, like cousins, they were all contributed to build the better civilization towards the ages. But on the other hand, how come nowadays many people, non-Iranians, they don't know, or it's very strange for them to think that once upon a time, Iran was a place for giving birth to philosophy, advancing sciences, having great physicians, doctors, and so on. So how come this misunderstood could happen? It makes sense. It's logical in my point of view. See, as I said, many Iranians, unfortunately, because of the Islamic invasion, they are totally unfamiliar with their pre-Islamic culture. So when it comes to say that Zoroastrian philosophy, Zoroastrian way of life, it's a very constructive prescription just to build a constant improving societies. As you just brought the example, look at Achaemenid, Hachamanishian, or Parthian, Ashkanian, or Sassanid, Sasanian. How they flourished, how they became so powerful in science, how they could maintain their neighbors, the neighboring country, and putting effort to improve the ancient other civilizations and build an advanced society in ancient time in Iran. It was because Zoroastrian religion was strong in there. If it was not because of Zoroastrianism, I am at least convinced that such civilization like Achaemenid empire wouldn't spread, and more importantly, perhaps we wouldn't have philosophers like Aristotle, Socrates, Plato, because we know that these valuable philosophers, Greek philosophers, they came to the world at the time when Greek and Iranians, they were meeting each other. They had exchanged the knowledge together. So when nowadays in the West, people think negative about Iranian society, I can understand it. It's logical when Iranians themselves are so strange to their culture, and on the other hand, unfortunately, with the government that nowadays is running Iran, it's actually occupying Iran. It's all the time representing Islam, not Iran. So this Islamic Republic is a representative of trying to prove that it's a representative of Islam, which again, this is also wrong, because the correct representative of Islam is Sunni Islam, not Shia, which was the kind of opposition against the real Islam. But I wanted to also add this point that it's understandable to some extent how nowadays ancient civilization of Iran is so unknown to many of our cousins, Western cousins, or Eastern neighborhood. And hopefully by bringing this Zoroastrian prescription into the society of Iran, not only we can solve many problems inside Iran, but we can make a nation which can be just a supporter, a help to many other nations, no matter from which part of geographical or from which human family groups are. So thank you, and please continue.
Hello. Well, my brother, what I have to say to you is that a feeling of Iranophilia, you know, the loving for the Iranian culture and people, it's a symptom that reborn century by century in West. And this is a good symptom that someday, somehow, the Western cousins of the Iranians will um, will wake up for this reality, how much we have in debt with Iran and his culture and his heritage to mankind. I have to say that this Iranophilia is something that you're going to see in some places in 19th century, not only in Friedrich Nietzsche, but there is also others, you know, examples of people in the 18th and even before in the other century, in the 18th century, in the 17th, there is some peoples. There is one from England of the 17th. What's his name? He was a Platonist. He was a Platonist. What's his name? He have some interesting books. I forgot his name right now. But we have this reborn. Uh, in some places a kind of small symptom. Some people in Italy, and after that in England, and after in the France and in Germany, we have people of West waking for this reality that Iran is a great benefactor of mankind. So this is a symptom that in the future, this is inevitable. The West people are gonna wake up to see that how deep in their hearts the Iranian influence has taken his roots in in a good moment, in a good way, you know. So you're talking about some Greek philosophers. Uh, Before Plato or Socrates, there is some other kind of philosophers who are more, according to Aristotle, as metaphysics. Not much of them has survived to the Christian fire. I say Christian fire because the Christians in the end of the Roman Empire had burned a lot of the rights of these ancient writers before Socrates, before Plato, before Aristotle. Uh, and there is an effort in the Western to try to rebuild the teachings of those thinkers based just in what had survived, what is not very much think. But one in particular is called Heraclitus of Ephesus, and this Heraclitus had influenced a lot Plato's. And Friedrich Nietzsche is one of the greatest studies of Heraclitus. He admires a lot of Heraclitus. And when you read what survived, we're gonna see that this philosopher or metaphysics, wherever you want to call him, he was very, very influenced by Zoroastrianism. All his metaphors about the fire, the universe like a fire that pulses. You know, the universe is a fire. He pulses with expanding, and after this, he contract itself, become small, and after that, expand again, become bigger and smaller. This fire, this eternal fire, this is exactly how Heraclitus said. This eternal fire, which is the universe, will never extinct. Will never be extincted. You see a lot of the influence of Zoroastrianism in Heraclitus. So even the philosophy of the Greeks has his roots in Zoroastrianism. Only in his good views. In his bad views is something about ignorance and misunderstanding, and also the corruption. Of course, a good thing, when this good thing is corrupted, becomes bad, of course. But the good things about Greek philosophy have his roots also in Zoroastrianism. Uh, if you read Confucius, which is the master of Confucianism, a kind of Chinese philosophy, it's very interesting when Confucius said, I do not create nothing. Everything what I said, everything what I know, I learned by Master Zhou. He said like this, Master Zhou of the people home. Well, a lot of academic people say that the people home is the Persians. And Master Zhou, it looks like to me what the Western people say Zoroaster. Master
Brother, if I'm saying correctly, I suppose it's in Confucius' book called Analect, when he's trying to teach the government how to build a better society, ideal society. And it was again interesting that you brought this point to, and we know, for example, Zen was very much influenced coming out of Zoroastrianism. So yes, again here, I would like to say, as you said, ancient Iran had so much good thing to share with other part of human societies as a whole family. But unfortunately, due to anti-cultural invasion through Iran done by Islam, we lost our good connection, not only with the Westerns, but also inside the Iranian plateau. Look how huge was Iran Shahr or Sassanid Empire before Islamic invasion happened. But after Islam came, it was becoming smaller and smaller, and nowadays you see many smaller countries near to each other and still fighting together. So this is the matter of a religion which is destructive and doesn't belong to a place and enter. And so when inside Iranian plateau, Islam could make so much trouble to human society, we can clearly see there has been a lots of problem coming from this Islamic worldview towards other part of the planet Earth. So we couldn't go through the question that I asked you about comparing Islam with Zoroastrianism, that how useful is Zoroastrianism, but how destructive is Islam. But because of you have so much deep knowledge about the topics, you were giving the information, and I wouldn't really like to change the topic to bring it to the point. But it was very valuable piece of knowledge that you shared with us. But I would say, as a conclusion, Iran, pre-Islamic Iran, was a support to human societies. To make again a support to human societies from Iranian plateau, or at least from nowadays Iranian borders, which the political borders which makes Iran, for make it again useful for other countries, other nations, we need to expand Zoroastrianism again in there, to make it a good brother to the Western countries, to their other Aryan family, and also to other part of the planet Earth, wherever humans are living. So I would like to just thank you, Aryamir, for your time, and I appreciate your knowledge, and especially I appreciate your love for Iranians, that though you are so busy, you dedicated some parts of your time to educate those Iranians who are strange with their heritage, their true Iranian culture, pre-Islamic Iran. So I would thank you, and mic is open if you want to say some words, like 1 or 2 minutes. I would be more than happy to listen. Thank you, Aryamir.
Well, what I have to say, just to conclude, that if you think that Confucianism and his theory of Yang and Yin was a kind of adaptation of the fighting between Ahura Mazda and Ahriman by Zoroastrianism, because you see so many uncasual, you know, parallels between the Zoroastrianism and the Confucianism doctrine. And if you listen what Confucius himself has said about his influence, about this master Zhou of the people Ham or Hom, I don't know. If some academics say that the Hom or Ham are the Persians, so you may believe, and I believe in that the Chinese has been influenced by the Iranian civilization. And if you think about the Koreans and the Japanese people has been structured by the Confucianism. Their civilizations were organized by Confucianism. So the Persians had organized even the Japanese by proxy. So since the Roman Empire until Japan, all ancient people owns to Iranian people their organization, their civilization. So all human society owns to Iranians their organization. We are indebted with Iran in a manner that I can't imagine how it's bad for the Iranian people have a lack of knowledge of their truly heritage, they truly roots. We talk here about the roots of Greek philosophy and the Confucianism. We are talking about so many things that the Iranians had good influence in the world. And if you think from where this knowledge had coming, from where the knowledge of ancient Iran had coming, they owe this to Zoroastrianism. They owe this to Zoroastrianism. The other countries who was blessed by Iranian neighborhood, own this to Iran, and Iran own this to Zoroastrianism. So what Islam has done for us? Nothing. They have done nothing for us. Even when they stopped to, you know, they had stopped to confuse the human mind. They just opened the doors to some kind of heresies inside of Islam, who was influenced by Zoroastrianism. When we talk about the golden age of Islam, people talk about this in the Middle Ages, the golden age of Islam. You should remember that is only happy because of the heresies in Islam. Those heresies was influenced by Zoroastrianism. So the knowledge, the moment that Islam has created his wisdom of house of wisdom, his house of wisdom in Baghdad, that's because also of the Islamic heretic influence of Zoroastrianism. So a kind of heretic Islam has received Zoroastrian influence, so the Islam stopped to be a barrier against the human development. Sorry. So what I have to say is mankind have a great debt with Iran, and Iran, the pre-Islamic Iran, owe this to his Zoroastrianism. One day, West society will wake up for this, and I believe, I am a Zoroastrian today, and I believe that one day all West will join into Zoroastrian family. So we, the Iranians of the West, we appreciated, we rejoice to think that one day our Iranian brothers will come with us, because this is more of them that of ourselves. They will come to Zoroastrianism. And when this day arrives, we will have a golden civilization with the join of the West and Iran.
Thank you, brother. I just want to make a conclusion out of your final paragraphs in your speech, at least for the Iranian audiences, that because I am very interested and involved in the topic of management and leadership, especially management. So I always think that these Zoroastrian religion is just a prescription that you can take it to any destroyed country, spread it in there, and put effort on educating people with this lifestyle, and then you will have a bright civilization coming out of a very rough situation. Like we see, for example, in Iranian plateau, again, when you look at the climates and different geographical area, you see it was not so easy to live in there in compared to our Indian brothers, where the climate was much more friendly to people. So they just used this prescription, this Zoroastrian religion, to build a civilization. And we try that we can spread this prescription again inside Iran that can bring benefit to Iranian people, as well as friendship, love, and cooperation with other nations and other countries outside of Iran. And on the other hand, I totally agree that if you have a brilliant civilization and you want to destroy it to the soil, one of the way is just to spread Islam in there. Once you spread it in that brilliant civilization, you will see the collapse step by step, day by day. And this is actually very sad. I can see among many Iranians who are living outside Iran in other countries, they feel very sad that Islam is spreading in non-Islamic countries in Europe and many other countries. And because they experienced how Islam is destructive, they are feeling really worried about the future of the West because of the disease of Islam is spreading everywhere. Hopefully, human society can make a wise steps toward this rough situation nowadays. Thank you again, Aryameh, and hope to see you again in another program, and Ushtate. Best wishes, brother. Bye.
It's a pleasure to talk to my Iranian brothers. Bye.
Thank you.